I'm Professor Ismail from EduTV. Today we'll be discussing the circulatory system. So the main function of the system is that to transport blood with oxygen from the lungs as well as nutrients taken in such as glucose to all of the tissues of the body. And this is effectively done by the heart, which actively pumps the blood throughout the body. So the main components includes the heart, blood and blood vessels, which come under three types, which are arteries, veins and blood capillaries. In simple terms, the heart is a muscular pump which is suspended in the pericardial sac, which in turn protects the heart. So the heart is composed of four chambers, which are the right atrium and the right ventricle, as you can see here, which makes up the right side of the heart. It also has the left atrium and the left ventricle, which makes up the left part of the heart. So the myocardium, which is basically the cardiac muscle cells of the heart, is strong, thick, and it also conducts electricity. And the heart is also covered in fat tissues, which serve for protection and insulation. And finally, we have the four walls of the heart, which are the mitral wall, tricuspid wall, which are also referred to as the arterioventricular walls. And we also have the aortic wall and the pulmonary wall, which are also referred to as the semilunar walls. So why do we have walls in the heart? Well, it prevents the backflow of blood. Here is the label diagram of the heart, which has the general and important parts of the heart that you have to know. Now we'll be discussing about the blood. So basically the blood is the key in the system by which it supplies oxygens and nutrients such as glucose, amino acids and fatty acids to tissues. And it also carries and removes waste such as carbon dioxide, urea and lactic acid. And they also serve in messenger functions such as hormonal response and the signaling of tissues. And they also function in coagulation, which is basically the thickening of the blood. And note that the blood has a composition of 55% plasma, which is mostly water, and 45% of elements, which are red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. And they also regulate core body temperature, body pH, as well as ion concentrations. And the first type of blood cells we'll be talking about is red blood cells, which are also referred to as erythrocytes. So they're basically biconcave discs which have no nucleus, and they basically transport oxygen to cells, and they carry carbon dioxide in the form of bicarbonate ions to the lungs. And the red blood cells, they contain the iron-based pigment hemoglobin, by which the oxygen binds to the heme group. Note that they have no nucleus, which gives them more room and space for more oxygen to be carried per red blood cell. Next, we have the white blood cells, which are also called leukocytes. So they, on the other hand, have no definite shapes, and they are larger than red blood cells. And the main thing here is that they have a nucleus. So they are part of the immune system, which means that they serve in defending the body against infectious diseases and any unidentified foreign materials, which are antigens, by producing antibodies which kill them through the process of phagocytosis. And the numbers of WBCs, they increase in the presence of an infection. So basically there are several types of WBCs, so we'll be discussing this in another video. So lastly, we have the platelets, which are also referred to as thrombocytes. So they're irregularly shaped cellular fragments which also have no nucleus, and they're also smaller than RBC and WBCs, meaning that they're the smallest component. So their main function is in blood clotting. So here are the platelets. Moving on, next up we'll be talking about the types of blood vessels. So first we have the arteries, which are the thickest types of blood vessels, and the largest one is the aorta, and they carry oxygenated blood. But note that the pulmonary artery, they carry deoxygenated blood. And the main function of arteries is that they carry blood away from the heart to capillaries. And they are also very elastic, and they have narrow pathways, thus they have very, very high blood pressures. And next we have the veins, which are thinner than arteries but thicker than capillaries. So they carry deoxygenated blood, but also note that the pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. And the main function of veins is that they carry blood towards the heart to get it oxygenated. And veins also have walls to prevent the backflow of blood, and the largest vein is the vena cava, and they're also very elastic as the arteries, but they have larger diameters, so lesser blood pressures. So you can see the diagram here. So the lumen, as in the pathway, is less thicker, so more broader. Last, we have the capillaries, which are the smallest and the thinnest type of blood vessels. They're usually referred to as by the words 1 cell thick. So their main function is that it's a passage for supplying oxygen and nutrients to all tissues and cells. And they're also a passage for removing wastes such as carbon dioxide and urea from tissues and cells. And they have a broad pathway, thus they have very low blood pressures. And also, always note that there is a network of capillaries that run close to tissues and cells, which enables quick diffusion of gases, nutrients, and waste efficiently. So you can also have a look at the diagram here. So they're much thinner and smaller compared to arteries and veins. Viewers, for joining yours one and truly, Professor Ismail, and please subscribe just below to our EduTV channel, and we'll be posting more and more videos for the following weeks, and next week we'll be posting videos on the immune systems. Thank you.